Hello, everybody. Welcome to the What the Football channel. This is the BH and Scrubber Show. We're here to talk about the roster cuts, the practice squad, everybody on the team, just the last-minute changes that we've seen come across the wire. We're excited about everybody that's on the team. I think we got the full show is here. Everybody's in there. I think the coaches did a great job of manipulating all this stuff and bringing all these people in. And I'm excited to talk about it today. And of course, I got my boy with me here, BH. Welcome, BH.
Thanks, Scrub. Yeah, it was a lot of work, and it's kind of fun to watch all the cuts and then see who we can bring back to the practice squad. And we'll talk about that later on. I think we're just going to kind of go through the roster now, and then we'll get with our practice squad and talk about that. I don't think they're done. I think, between now and that next week, we probably think there might be a few other small moves.
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, let's, I think we can go through this offense and defense. Let's talk about, then we can just kind of talk about the practice squad, which is interesting because pretty much I think we got to bring back, no one claimed any of our players, so we got to bring back everyone that we wanted to bring back.
Exactly, and that was good. So
it was. Well, let's go ahead. I mean, let's do the easy part.
Yeah,
the quarterback room looks super solid.
Yep, that is what it is. We got Wentz; he's our starter. Heineke's our backup, and I love Samuel Howell.
Yeah, man, Howell really did. He showed us a lot going out there and playing that whole game. I thought that was good. He was pretty happy about being able to do that. It meant a lot to him, so that was great. So, yeah, I mean, gosh, couldn't be happier. Really got a strong quarterback room.
Yep.
Going in, hoping for big things from Carson Wentz to really kind of kick this thing up from the last couple of years. I think it's going to be it'll be great for this offense. So that's good. Let's go on to the running backs because I guess probably the biggest story obviously is Brian Robinson.
Yep.
So we all know about the shooting. If you don't know, there was an attempted robbery. He was wounded and he got through it very well. There's some injuries. He got shot in the knee. So what did they put him on? The NFL
non-football injury list.
Non-football injury list. So that's 4 weeks.
4 weeks.
I think that's smart.
Yep.
Why push it? Yeah, that's not only physical trauma. We talked about it. That's very traumatic thing to go through. I think he really does need time. I'd love to have him there, but I think it's really smart. Give him 4 weeks and let him slowly blend in and get with the team. And when he comes in, he'll be ready. I have no doubt, physically and mentally. I think the kid will be ready to go.
Yep. Something like that can either break you down or shape you into a better person. So I think he's going to be a better man for it.
Yeah, no kidding. And a young man too. So, we have our regulars, Antonio Gibson, Jonathan Williams, JD McKissick.
Yep.
Interestingly, I know we were all pretty shocked when Jared Patterson was let go because we kind of felt like he outplayed Jonathan Williams. And Jonathan Williams is good, strong back, but Jared being a more how would you say, he just seems to do, catch the ball better. He can just kind of do more things, maybe more well-rounded. My thinking on that, and this is a theory that came only out of here, so don't read too much into it, is that I think because of the transition, they were going to have a power running back in Brian Robinson.
Yes.
And I really think they were slating Antonio Gibson for a whole nother role that played to his strengths, the kind of guy, a slasher, a cutter. He can kick returns, put him out in the slot, do all kinds of stuff with it. I think they decided this is what we're going to do for Antonio. That's going to be our guy. So I kind of think they kept Jonathan Williams because I don't think they want to mess and bring Antonio Gibson back. They go, oh, Antonio, you're the running back now like you were last year. I think they're going to say, no, Jonathan Williams, now I'm just guessing, you're going to take the Brian Robinson role, early downs, 4th and short, 3rd and goal. And Antonio will maintain the playbook, but I think that they started to slop him. We won't know till the first game, but let's just see what happens. That's why I think they let Jared Patterson go. I really think if there's no injury to Brian Robinson, I think Jonathan Williams might have been the odd man out.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. Let's see what they do. Let's see how they do. I think that would be smart. Jonathan Williams, he's a power runner.
We liked what he did. I think last year in the early preseason, I liked what he had to show, and they used him a little bit last year. I thought he did really well. So he's got potential.
Yeah.
Hard
he does, and he's not strong. What's that?
I said he's a hard runner. He's good. He's a good-sized dude.
Need to fill that Brian.
Yes.
Yep. We want him in there on those 3rd and short, so he can take over that role. So let's see what happens. We'll have a lot to talk about after that first game. And then we get Brian Robinson back after 4 weeks, and we have the all-star J.D. Mckissick.
Yes.
Who a very good football team, and the Buffalo Bills wanted him bad and pretty much had him a verbal agreement, what is really what it sounded like. I mean, he was almost that close. Yeah, poor Scrubber, man. I know you were losing it, but thank goodness, man. They signed him and he wanted to be here. And I think that's important. So, okay. So we know, so that'll be interesting. We got some things to watch here, but I don't think it's bad having Antonio Gibson, Jonathan Williams, and J.D. Mckissick. I think that's a strong group.
Rock solid.
Yep. So now let's go to this offensive line. I'm guessing we've got, it's Charles Leno, Andrew Norwell, Chase Roulier at center, and then Sam Cosmi at right tackle. The right guard situation, it's still, I think it was Trey Turner's job, but with his injury, to me, it's looking like Wes Schweitzer's going to start.
That's fine. I love Wes Schweitzer.
I agree with you 100%. And so they've got the backup. Cornelius Lucas is the swing tackle, so he can cover both tackle spots in the event of an injury. Sadiq Charles and Chris Paul are backup guards. But it seems like, where we're kind of hurting is there's no real backup center, right? Because I think Ismail went to IR and then Toth made the practice squad, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Larson.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not seeing him. So did he get IR'd or?
I think so.
Yeah. So we're really, that's
Wes's job, if you ask me. He'll fill in. If it ain't Chase Roulier, it would be Wes Schweitzer would be after him.
I think that's what's going to happen. So we'll see. They're probably going to need to do something there, and that would probably end up being, I think we talked about maybe Wes Martin, because I think there's there's still a roster spot available here now that Brian Robinson was on the NFL non-football injury list. I heard somewhere maybe they're working out a little contract deal with him. That's all. And so it would be good to have him come back so he can assume right guard as a starter or backup. If Wes, it depends. Roulier should be ready to go, but you don't want to look at the center and not see any backups behind him. Yeah,
but I definitely see Wes Schweitzer filling that role because he did such a great job last year filling that role. Him and Ishmael just grabbed it and ran with it. So
they really did. And I was sorry to see we kind of lost a lot of guys to IR, man. Yeah. Including Ismail. And so, but I still think that's a great group. I mean, they're really strong. They did good last year. Sam Cosmi's going to improve. It's his second year. I think we'll get a lot more out of him. So, well, let's talk about tight ends a little bit because that's an interesting group because it's just been crazy. Yeah. In terms of they've been resting guys. I mean, obviously Logan Thomas coming after the injury, but man, everyone else, Cole Turner, John Bates, even Armani Rogers. I'm really excited about Armani Rogers, man.
Yep.
Making this team. He for a guy who's a converted quarterback, he was shockingly good in the games I saw him. He actually looked pretty sharp. And so I'm glad we got him. But it's going to be interesting to see as we get closer who they're going to suit up for games. Is Logan going to be 100% ready? I mean, even Cole Turner and John Bates were battling. So, well, the coaches and everyone will handle their business. But man, I'm just really interested to see in the next week what kind of reports we get on which one of those guys are all healthy enough to suit up.
It is up in the air.
It is. It's crazy. And it's been that way. And hey, man, maybe we'll just get lucky and game one, the top three will suit up. Armani Rogers will just be made inactive for the game and we'll all be happy. But sounds
it's
good.
Crucial to have the tight ends available because that plays to Wentz's strength. He likes to throw to the tight ends. When he's got to check down, he's looking for the tight end. So let's hope them guys are ready to go.
Yep, that's true. That's just been a big thing for him. Boy, him and Logan Thomas could really do some damage.
Yep.
So, all right, man. So the next big thing is our wide receiver group. That was interesting. There was a battle down to the end. I mean, we talked about it. It was probably going to be, between Dax Milne and Alex Erickson, and looks like Dax got the nod.
Yeah, he did. I'm glad. And Erickson is on the practice squad. I really liked what Erickson was showing. Some people on the net were saying that he wasn't showing his stuff. I thought he was. I thought he did really good.
I had no problem with the guy.
Right. Now, I do agree with
I had no issues with him.
Some of his kickoff stuff, his returns, when you're, a DeAndre Carter sets the bar so high, who we had before, he would just grab the ball and just run like a maniac. Now, some of these guys like Erickson was looking for a hole and kind of shimmying, where as soon as you get that ball, you just got to run straight forward as fast as you can. And so he kind of was just shimmying a little bit. So I can understand that aspect of people not. And if we got Antonio might do that for us. That would be cool.
I think that they pretty much said he's going to, do kickoffs. Let's see what happens with the way the running back situation is a little short. But I mean, it really overall after, that was the biggest surprise, and everyone else, Terry McLaurin, Cam Sims, Curtis Samuel, Jahan Dotson, Diami Brown.
Perfect.
That's just a great crew, I think.
Yep. You can't get much better.
I got no problem with that. No, I mean, and Diami, still, he was a little shaky. We saw the drops. Man, he's in that wide receiver room and they're doing film and they're showing that. Ooh, that's got to be brutal.
Yeah.
To watch yourself do that, man, you got to do some self-evaluation, man, and be honest with yourself when you're in front of your wide receiver room and you're doing stuff like that, man. You got to work on that stuff. He's a super talented kid, but hey, it's the NFL, man.
It's only really him being more assertive towards the ball and not waiting for the glory of the catch. You know how we play golf, dude. You swing away and you're just looking at the glory of it all and you miss the ball. You shanked it, you know what I mean? And trying to just wait for it to come in. You can't do that in the NFL anymore. You can't wait for that just to drop down into your hands. You got to stop and move towards it and catch it. So he'll learn.
Yep. Yeah, he's going to have to because, it's not going to always just land in the breadbasket. You really do have to go up in it because that's what happened. Those corners there, they swiped it on him.
Yep.
So, but I'm really, that's a great room. I mean, and we're happy to have, compared to last year, man, having this rookie Jahan Dotson who looked so good and a healthy Curtis Samuel. We didn't have that last year.
Yeah.
We were just trying to put anyone we could find. So, come on, you're coming in with Carson Wentz and those wide receivers, just that alone, it's a big improvement.
Yeah.
And
really tight ends that make you think for a second. We didn't even have tight ends last year. We had Ricky Seals-Jones and John Bates, and we didn't have anybody. And as soon as Logan came back, he was hurt again. So,
yeah.
The threats out.
Yeah, Logan was just a blip. He came and went so fast. And, and thank God, Ricky Seals, he's just a veteran, but he did a good job for us. And John Bates was a revelation. So it's good. I'm hoping he's 100% healthy because that guy can and block like a mother. So,
Yeah.
well, good, man. I mean, that's a lot of stuff to be happy about there. I just think really the unfortunate Brian Robinson situation is really the only negative. I mean, for a lot of reasons, but for our roster, other than that, I mean, really, I'm really happy with this offense. This is a lot better than last year going in.
Yep.
I think.
I agree.
Yep.
Yep. Looking a
Cool.
lot, very, very good. Even if Fitzpatrick would have made it, Wentz is a upgrade from him.
Yep. I think he definitely is. So,
Yep. All
well,
right.
man, let's talk about this defense, man. I think it's looking, I mean, the D line, the starters, we all know it's, Montez, Jonathan Allen, and Deron Payne, and James Smith Williams is going to be in for Chase. Another guy that's going to be week 5. We're going to get some guys back. That's going to be nice. And I think, so Chase will be one of them, right?
Yes, sir. That'll be good. Looking forward to that.
Good.
But I think Smith Williams can hold that for a while, and he's got good backup on that side. So who do we got? Shaka Tony and Casey Toohill over there.
Yeah. Yep. I think you'll see Toohill get a lot of snaps, and then you'll see F.A. Obata and Shaka Tony maybe on some passing downs, rushing. They're both really good rushers. So, yeah, I think they're going to utilize those guys. And I think they already have developed a system because James Smith-Williams is a good, solid guy. But, he's not a Montez Sweat. He's not a Chase Young who's just going to be in there playing 65, 70% of the snaps. I think there'll be a bit of a rotation. But between them all, they all showed a lot of good things. Casey Toohill's a solid guy.
Yep.
So I think the O-line's fine. I think the backup defensive tackles with Daniel Wise and Fedarian Mathis.
Yeah.
I like those two guys a lot. They'll get a lot of rotation. Those 4, Jonathan Allen, Deron Payne, and Fedarian and Daniel Wise will rotate a lot.
I'm happy with that.
So, all right, man. Let's look at the linebackers. Pretty much we know the big change. Cole Holcomb goes to the middle, put Jamin Davis on the outside. Milo Eifler made the team. He was sort of one of those late season additions last year when guys were dropping like flies. And hey, we pick up John Bostic.
Yeah.
So, which is cool, a guy who was supposed to be our starting middle linebacker with Cole on the weak side and Jamin Davis learning, getting in, playing. When Bostic went down, Jamin kind of went in full time. And it was, he had a learning curve for sure. So
I'm excited to have Bostic back. I think it's good.
I do too.
A good addition. He's been with the program for a while, and he's a veteran, and he could probably teach Holcomb some stuff about running the middle, and can take over the middle if he has to. And I think it's awesome. It was a surprise to me, actually, really.
I was pretty surprised too. I mean, I thought maybe he was like done for, and maybe a lot of it is he's a pure backup. But like you said, I mean, he can really help. I mean, David Mayo, another guy we should mention. David, almost like he was cut and then he came back, and now David Mayo's here, and he's the backup. But Bostic, I think he's the guy that could help Cole a lot. Because, like we said, he was going to be the starting linebacker last year, and they know each other, obviously. And so, I mean, I think it's great having him there because, when Cole comes off the field and he's looking at the tablet, both Mayo and Bostic right there, and the same with Jamin. They can show him, what's good, what's bad, what happened on plays, what the other team's doing, having that veteran mindset to explain stuff for them, to help them learn to key on things based on, we talk about quarterbacks have a pre-snap read. Mm-hmm. Well, linebackers and defensive players have pre-snap reads too. Yep. And they can teach those guys, hey, when you see this setup, sometimes it limits what they're going to do. And, that's veterans already have. That's why David Mayo, who's not a super athletic guy or anything, does really good at middle linebacker in running downs is because, he's seen it so much, not so much surprises him. And so he doesn't ever, he doesn't have to think. He just can react. And
Right.
so that's good. That's 5 really good guys right there
Yep.
at linebacker.
Yep. Having them guys there slows the game down for them. When you can narrow that down, when they can help you, this is the read. This is what you're going to do. Yeah, they don't have to think so much about it anymore. So
Yeah, and it was a big deal for Jamin. We know a lot of responsibility for a rookie in the middle, and just trying to get up to speed because all the athleticism in the world, and he's a super athlete. You just still got to get reps. Still got to be out in the field. You still got to see it. I think he's going to really do well. We saw him in preseason, him make some really cool plays. I mean, chase guys right down to the sideline.
Yep.
And took him down, and that's what they got him for. So that'll be good. And I think Cole, he'll need some help in the middle. He'll need some getting coached up and some experience, but I still think he'll be pretty solid guy. He's better in coverage, I think, than both Bostic, and that's the big thing with Cole. His coverage abilities, and linebackers have to be able to diagnose and stop the run, but they also got to be able to run with tight ends, crossing routes. They're going to have certain zone coverages. And it's super important because, man, if your linebacker kind of can't cover or a safety, they will set you up and they'll work you over. I mean, that's just what they do in the NFL. So it's great. And man, we want all our guys to be healthy, but it would be really cool if, Cole and Jamin just played all 17 games this year. Cause I think as a team, those two as a tandem will be very strong. They'll only get better.
Yep. I agree, man.
So let's I tell you what, let's split up the DBs, man. Let's just go ahead and look at our corners. I think we know we've got basically Kendall Fuller and William Jackson, are out there as our outside guys, and Benjamin St. Just as the slot guy. I mean, that's pretty much set.
Sweet. That is awesome. Kendall really has stepped up. William Jackson is a stud. Moving St. Just to cover the slot. I think he's going to like it.
I think so too. I think slot coverage is kind of a different animal, obviously, than having guys on the outside, because you do have the out of bounds to pinch guys and all that. And when the slot, you're a little vulnerable, but he's also a big guy and a strong guy. He's got a lot of length. So, guys trying to do a lot of short little routes and stuff, they have to deal with a big, strong corner, slapping that ball away. I'm excited for him. I think we talked about his only question mark was he did have the 2 concussions almost back to back. So we're going to hope and pray that he's pretty much got that behind him and gets fitted with a really super technical custom helmet.
Yep.
And does good. Now, the other thing is we've got I think they had those 2 signings. I think it was it Rashad Wild Goose?
Yeah.
And Tariq Castro Fields.
Yep.
Those are guys, obviously our scouting department just must, I'm sure they had a pretty long list at every position. Looking at guys who know they know are on the bubble for other teams. Because they didn't just like one day go, they weren't there going, oh, hey, look who's available. They wanted those 2 guys. I'm pretty sure they did. And let's be honest. Cornell, we'll talk about the practice squad later, but we know Cornelder and Danny Johnson are on the practice squad, and they had a rough preseason.
Yeah. And for, like you said before too, for them to pull Tariq Fields off their practice squad and just sign him straight to the team, that says a lot to me. Same with Wild Goose. So
it does. It really does. And I mean, it maybe, I don't know. It obviously could send a message, to Corn Elder and Danny Johnson that, hey, you didn't perform up to speed. And so, and that's for every guy in this team is that we're not moving on from you, but now you're down in, you're down at the kids table. So sit there for a while, and which is a shame because honestly, man, Danny Johnson.
He did a good job for us last year.
I don't get it, man. He had to fill in for William Jackson. He had to come in different spots.
Yep.
So well, you know what? I don't know the systems. I mean, obviously, Tariq Castro-Fields is a rookie, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so
but an older rookie. He's like 23 years old.
Yeah. Okay. So they're going to have to learn the system. We'll see what ends up happening, but they're backups. And so they can learn as we go. And then, you add into that group, you got Christian Holmes, the guy we drafted.
Right.
So most teams work to keep their draft picks, on the roster because they draft them, they believe in them. They're guys they want to develop too. So he's there. So I've got no complaints with this group.
No, none at all. Especially combining them with Holcomb and Jamin, Kendall, St. Just, William Jackson. When you piece all them guys together, that's pretty heavy duty.
I think so.
And then we'll talk about the safeties here in a second, combining them as well. So.
Right. Yeah. And that's a great point. And then the last point too is, this goes to what we were saying about having two linebackers who can cover. You got to be able to have coverage, and we have great coverage safeties. And then what we spoke about previously is, Corn Elder and Danny Johnson, who played a lot of plays last year, are sitting there on the practice squad. So that's some good depth too.
Yeah.
So you got to put them all in that group because they're not just any guys. They're guys that have played in this system. They're guys that know the coaches. They know the fellow players. I mean, they're plug and play. They just need to bring their game up.
That's all. Maybe they just had a bad preseason is all. They do have it in them because we've seen it before.
So. Exactly. Yeah. I mean, so to see them, man, to see them look so lost sometimes, man. Yeah. It was yikes. Anyway, yeah, it was rough. Well,
bad.
Let's move on to our safeties.
Nice. Got a great group there too.
Yeah, I mean Cameron Curl and Bobby McCain both did really good last year.
Yep.
I think Cameron has been solid since he came in the league, 7th round pick, and he's been nothing but a solid player. I'll say this about him. Well, two things. He's nursing a little bit of a thumb injury, but most people believe it's not a big deal. I don't think that's going to hurt him at all. It's a thumb. It's not a lowered extremity. But Cam is a guy who I think now ought to make a big jump, because he was a 7th round pick, but he started 2 years. They've used him at the Buffalo nickel, mostly the strong safety, but they've moved him around and he's really good. He's really solid. But I mean, I think he's a guy. You see it with wide receivers sometimes, and a lot of different positions. The 3rd year is the year you put it together. This is the year you got to go be a star. He could be a star this year. He's got the 2 years in him. He knows the system. I mean, he could really, really be something special. So I'm kind of hoping, for him. And then Bobby Kane, the wily veteran, who Bobby started a little slow last year. I think the DBs in general. I mean, sometimes it looked like a Chinese fire drill out there.
It did. And that was because with the Landon Collins thing and moving him, and once that happened, it started to settle down.
It really did, because Landon, God love him, man. He's a liability in coverage, man.
Yeah.
He couldn't cover a glazed donut, man. So sorry to say it. And I know he's still out there. So who knows? But Bobby McCain really, all of a sudden, man, he came in and he made some great run stops from the free safety. He came down hard. He diagnosed the play, came in and just knocked guys silly. So that, I mean, I'm really happy. I'm hoping that him and Cam would be a good tandem, especially if they could pick up from last year at the end. That's your hope. If those guys can pick it up. So, and then when we're looking,
combination with our cornerbacks and Jamin and Cole, all of them pieces all fit together like a nice puzzle, and with good depth there too.
Yep. And they know the system.
Yeah.
They've been in this system, the scheme, they understand it. It's, the coaches, are all the same guys. Well, except for the D line. Obviously we have a new D line coach, but so there's no reason not to come in and excel. You're not having to fill your brain with new things, meet new people. No, you're here.
Yeah, every one of them guys played last year together.
Yeah.
And even who's our depth there is Reeves and Derek Forrest.
Yeah. Jeremy Reeves, Percy Butler, the rookie,
Oh, that's
and
right.
Derek Forrest.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I'm not sure how it's all going to play out because there's been a lot of talk. They were kind of having there was talk of Percy Butler early being that Buffalo nickel, but they rotated him in. Cam Curl played Buffalo nickel when he was a rookie, so he knows what's going on there. But the big one was Derek Forrest. It'll be interesting to see. But the stuff when I saw him in there playing Buffalo nickel, he's like a mini Landon Collins, not as tall, not as big, but he's a little better in coverage. But he likes to hit. He's about 200 pounds, so he likes coming up on the line. So he could really play that position pretty darn well, which would be great because when Landon came in and committed to the Buffalo, and we had all our DBs, like you said, that's when we got him out as being a safety.
Yeah.
So we didn't have that liability, but then we brought him up close to the line where he could cover, he could do that Buffalo nickel thing.
He did great.
He did awesome, and it really solidified everybody else.
Yep.
Yeah. Hey, nothing worse, man, than being next to a guy who can't cover because it sort of bleeds onto you. You're always looking over, you're looking through your zone. You're almost like overprotecting that guy. You don't need that. You need to trust that everybody on your defense can cover, can maintain their zone, maintain their responsibilities.
Yeah.
And I think so that was kind of cool when Landon went there. People didn't have to worry about him. But yeah, he was great. And so I kind of see, we'll kind of see what kind of movement happens and where things go. And maybe Percy Butler is not going to be a candidate for that. But as a free safety, he's great. He can watch and learn from Bobby McCain. He can play a lot of special teams, which he's a dog in special teams. I'm excited to see him coming down on punts and kickoffs. Because, man, his college film, he's probably going to have to get a couple personal fouls out of the way early before he settles down. I swear to God, he's got a firecracker up his butt, but I love him. But right now,
he hurt us in a preseason game though with a couple penalties. He did hurt.
Maybe he got it out of his system then. Yeah. Let's hope, because that's how he is. He's pretty jacked up and he loves it. But he's a great kid. I've read a lot of good things about him, and he's the one. I don't know if you remember when they had the mini camp and he showed up with like 3 suitcases, and because he didn't know, he thought, well, it's camp, I'm coming, and they said, no, dude, it's like a week. He showed up with everything, and that was fun. I had a good laugh. I hope he took it the right way. But it goes to his attitude. Dude was packed and ready. He's like, hey, practice every week till the season starts. Sign me up. I'm ready. So, yeah, good kid. But I think even if he's not slated for the Buffalo nickel role, I don't care. We need a young guy who can be free safety. Bobby McCain's a little bit on the older side. And, always getting younger, faster, stronger in the NFL is the way to go. So I think he's just a great kid. I think he'll learn a lot. Jeremy Reeves is there. Jeremy Reeves is a guy who's always kind of a perennial backup and special teams guy, but he's just good to have because, like all the guys we talk about, been in the system, knows the scheme, knows the coaches and his fellow players. So it'll benefit him. And Jeremy Reeves might be an average safety, but if you play in the system and if you understand the scheme and you feel comfortable with everyone around you, it makes you a better player.
Sure.
So so on our team, he's not just an average safety. He's a real, a key part of our team. And if he has to go in, he won't be a liability.
Yeah. Yep.
No.
I really like all of that works together because I like Coach Ron because he's a defensive coach. And when you have a defense that limits points, all your offense has, we talked about this, I talk about it, last year, but then all your offense has to do is just score a regular amount of points. Your defense is going to shut them down. And when you look at our defense, we got our line that is attacking hard. Our DBs are covering and just squishing, the other team's offense. They can't do anything. And so I really like the dynamic between the line, the DBs, the linebackers, just everybody just holding the line. It's just amazing to me. I think it's going to work good.
Yeah, it's kind of like visions of 2020 when this was like the fourth rated defense, because that's what they did. And Ron even talked about it in preseason. Like some of the plays we got burned on were where we didn't sync up, where when the D line, it was frustrating when the D line was putting pressure,
right.
The DBs let guys go wild.
Exactly.
When the DBs had guys pretty settled, and that
the
happens.
Line wasn't getting in there. Yeah.
Yep. The 2020, they were really, doing the same thing. There was a guy I was over there on Street Scores looking at Rico. Rico does a great job, and I was just in the comment section. The guy was like, this scheme sucks, it's terrible. And I said, hey, I go, it's the same scheme in 2020 when we were like a top 5 defense.
Yeah,
it's the same scheme, man. So
it is.
Just pump the brakes a little. It just things didn't work out. And if we can come in here strong in these first couple games, and really, get the defense going without Chase, and then when Chase comes back, even if Chase is at 80 and has to like rotate in and out, that's going to be a great boost for this team. So I think and I really think, and I don't know what happened last year. It was weird. Maybe they really believed all the great things that were said about him. Hey, you're a top 5 D, you're a great D. And they got a little lazy, they got a little cocky, because man, they were not the same team out there. All of a sudden, like I said, the communication wasn't. So, maybe they now realize we didn't come out there and hit it hard. We didn't come out and do the work. And maybe this year, I'm just really hoping they get that pride back, because, most of these guys were here in 2020. So I'm hoping they get that pride back and fight hard together right from the beginning. I mean, none of this. It's only Jacksonville. It's only Detroit. None of that BS.
Right.
Come on.
I think still what happened too last year was Del Rio. So trying to push Landon as the safety. And then, we talked about, Rivera had to come in. I believe he talked to him. And that's when that whole Landon thing changed. I think part of it was Del Rio just wouldn't budge a little bit on some things. And finally, Rivera, doing what he's supposed to do, stepped in and said, hey, look, we got to make this change. This isn't working. And so we finally made that decision to move Landon up front. And then poof, all of a sudden everything opened up and started to work good. But then, of course, COVID, injuries, blah, 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 on down the line. So it didn't get a chance to manifest itself and get going. So this year, we're going to start where that left off.
Exactly.
And they should be right where they're supposed to be from the get-go, with a quarterback that didn't hurt his hip on the second set of plays.
I know.
You know what I'm saying? So everything should be straight now. Supposedly. So.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%, man. There's no reason why they can't just pick it up. And that was weird, that whole the Del Rio dynamic. And we know, too, that Landon Collins was pushing back. He really saw himself as a safety. And, God love him, he's still unsigned. He's still sitting out there.
Last year a couple times, man.
Dude, he's out there. No one signed him. That's
but
sort
when
of
he
tells
moved
you.
up and they moved him, he did great. He seemed so happy. He was getting in on rushes. He was tackling the shit out of people. Yeah, he looked really good, man. So hopefully he learned something from that. I hope
so.
Mine. He's really good.
I know. And its thing is, maybe a lot of people don't use that hybrid. It maybe, I know some teams use it, but maybe there's just not enough people using that hybrid linebacker safety, Buffalo nickel to fit him in. Who knows? And like you said, coach didn't, maybe even Coach Del Rio just needed some backup, because he's an assistant, he's a coordinator, and he's working Landon Collins. And maybe who knows, maybe coach had to come in and tell Landon Collins, hey, I know you're pushing back, but you can't. We're making a move. So you commit to this Buffalo nickel, because that's just the way it's going. So who knows what happened, but the bottom line is, you're right. Coach stepped in, and it was the best thing. It really made the whole difference, set the whole thing. And also, to your point, people forget, we're getting ripped out there. in the media, on all the websites.
Of course.
Everyone, I mean, dude, it's insane. But hey, I love it. Good. Keep talking trash so our players can read it. Then they won't get soft. It won't be like last year where they said, hey, we're a top 5 defense. Cool. We're going to roll right in and crack some skulls. And oh, wait, it didn't happen because you have to dedicate yourself. Well, now they can read about it. But I'm telling you, a team that has his quarterback go down before the first half for a whole year, and I know it was only, Fitz, but I'm telling you, you look at any team out there, you tell me that Tampa Bay without Tom Brady, you tell me Matthew Stafford goes down at halftime in the very first game of the season. You think the Rams are going to the Super Bowl?
No.
Hell no. So we really got ripped. And it doesn't matter that our quarterback wasn't a top tier guy. He was the guy that we needed. He was the guy that we brought in. I mean, there's a lot focused on Fitz about having, some to solidify the position. He also had a decent arm. He talked about the Alex Smith thing with a lot of the, Alex really couldn't move the ball downfield anymore. He wasn't that kind of quarterback. And while Fitz wasn't Aaron Rodgers, right. I mean, the guy could move the ball and push defenses back.
With the people around him, he could do it.
Yeah. And we were excited, and then booms. And people out there, I mean, it's like they forgot about that, or they're thinking, who cares? They got, Taylor Heineke, he was about just as good. And people who say that read that all wrong. That's not true. No. We lost our starting quarterback for the year at the halfway point, and it was pretty devastating. I know the team felt it. They always say, hey, next man, but that hurts. So we don't have that going on. We've got Carson Wentz, who, is a better quarterback than Ryan Fitzpatrick. Yeah. He just is. He's got some issues here and there and stuff, but he is a better NFL quarterback. No two ways about it. So
in a better place than he was in Indianapolis and with the Eagles. Ugh.
Yeah.
How can you deal with that crap? You know what I mean? I think he's in a much better place now.
I think that he is
freer to do what he wants to do. So and better targets and better skill players around him. So he's going to do very well.
So. He's the best group of tight ends and receivers he's ever played with.
Yep.
Anyway,
and front line too, given what he had to play with Indianapolis. So
yeah, Indy, great run blocking line, but suspect pass blocking line.
Yep.
Well, we're going to go to just quickly kind of review those, the practice squad, but before we go, special teams is, we got 3 good guys, man. Tressway, Joey Sly, Cheeseman, the snapper. Yeah. I'm happy that, Joey's got to kind of, fix the glitches, settle down. But there's a group who we want to end the season. To begin the season the way they ended it, right?
Yeah.
They were doing good. They were hitting. Once Joey Sly got here, he bought in. They got going, and God, they were fine. They were fine. And so that's a group, I think there's no reason why those 3 guys just can't come in and pick it up.
Yeah. So, and I'd like to know who our gunners are. So I think it was Cam Sims and Troy Apke, I think were our gunners last year. And Troy is on the practice squad.
Yeah.
And Cam is still in there. So, the funny thing about Cam was his number changed.
To what?
He used to be number 11.
Oh, okay.
And Wentz is number 11. So now I think he's number 89 or something.
Holy cow.
Which is a weird number because he is a tall, lanky guy. So he is kind of a cross between a tight end and a wide receiver. So 89 is kind of a funny number for him. So I thought that was
It is. Yeah, we're going to have to be eyeballing that roster when you stream the game. So. Yeah, Troy.
But we did like our gunners last year. We liked the way the Tress worked with them, the way they would punt to one side of the field or the other. They would take the inside track instead of the outside track. And one guy would run behind the ball to make sure it didn't go into the end zone. And the other guy would occupy the guy who was supposed to catch it. So they really got their shit together there. So
I agree. And then we got like a scientist as our center. Cheeseman just snaps it like no other. There's nothing to worry about from him. Guy's almost always perfect. So as far as gunners, if Apke is on the practice squad, you could see a guy I mean, maybe Percy, he could be the guy.
Yeah.
It just depends on if there's no injuries in the DB system, they might for game day. He might not. He might be active. It just depends if they they might have to have Jeremy Reeves, more experienced DB in there if there's any injuries or question marks. Then Jeremy Reeves might, but we'll know that right away. So that would be interesting to see who that is. So, well, let's talk about this practice squad. I think I do too, and I mean it's kind of nice to see Corn Elder and Danny Johnson back. I'm kind of glad they didn't get picked up. Maybe someone watched their preseason games, but they're better players than that. So I'm glad they're there. I think the guy almost everybody is most excited about would have to be Jared Patterson.
Of course.
Yeah, because he earned the 53-man roster as a rookie. And now with the shakeup, he's on the practice squad, so that's great. I think Alex Erickson just barely got beat out by Dax Milne.
Mm-hmm.
But they did draft Dax, and Dax looked good. What can you say?
Yeah,
I mean the guy really did look good, so I'm glad he's on there. Alex Akinbulu, an offensive lineman, and we have other offensive linemen is Aaron Montero, and then John Toth, the center.
Yeah,
we talked about that. So we got some line depth. Although,
what was the deal with Wes Martin?
Last I checked, he's still. I think we have one opening still left because David Bada was brought back, so now he's on the practice squad, but he doesn't count
towards
there's still. I counted 52 instead of 53 when I did the count.
Okay.
Because at the last thing they did was Robinson on the NFL, the non-NFL injury thing was like the last move, and that made it 52. And I heard a rumor that they are still talking to Wes Martin to bring him back as a salary thing, but we'll see. I mean, I could be wrong, but I checked it out pretty good. I'd like to have him back.
Hell yeah. Great.
So
squad.
What's that?
Great practice squad. I'm very happy with the whole thing.
Yeah. All these guys, some, a lot of new guys, Kyrick McGowan, Mark and Michael, people like that. But, some of our, obviously some veterans and like Kaliki Hudson, Danny Johnson, even Nolan Laufenberg, another guy. He's a guard. I guess they're happy with him because he must be developing. So, I mean, he hasn't done much, but I don't think they'd keep him if they didn't think he was working and developing his game. So there's got to be something there, or they'd have cut him by now.
Coach likes keeping linemen, that's for sure.
Yeah. And I guess the only other thing I would say is William Bradley King made it back.
Yes.
So I'm glad he's another guy that's just going to be depth, and he's still learning and developing. So yeah, great practice squad. I mean, when you put it all together, really the only major injury at this point is Robinson.
Yeah.
With the incident, and even that he's just 4 games. That's not bad. I mean, we really dodged bullets. Injuries are tough, but it's really tough if you start getting guys wiped out in preseason, which happens and is happening. So, yep, top to bottom, man, I like it. So, we're ready, man, for the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Yeah, that's coming up
at home.
Not this Sunday, but the following.
Yep, in DC.
Yeah,
I just saw a group of 10 guys on this. I don't know if it was ESPN. I think it was ESPN. 10 guys picking, and no, it was NFL Network.
Yeah,
and 6 picked the Jags to win, and 4 picked the Commanders.
Yeah, I think it was actually less. I think it was only 2 of the Commanders.
Really, was that bad?
Yeah, I think it was like 8-2.
That's horrendous.
Yeah,
so. It is, because I mean, I don't even know. I mean, obviously we're biased, we love our team, but I mean, we'll just let the facts speak for themselves. They got the same people coming back. You got a better quarterback. I mean, Curtis Samuel didn't play at all last year. And we've got a stud wide receiver in Jahan Dotson. Logan Thomas really hardly played at all last year. Now, and Logan, we know he's coming off an injury, but he's here and he's playing.
Yeah.
So, I mean, all these guys are coming back that we didn't have last year,
Mhm.
and they're saying we're going to win 3 games. That's what I don't understand. I just, I don't get to know or talk to those guys, but I would really love to hear what they're talking about. Was there a big drop off with Carson Wentz? No, it was Taylor Heineke. Nothing against Taylor. So there's no drop off there. Yeah, there's no drop off. So what do you guys talk about? But you know what? Proof's in the pudding. We'll find out, and we'll do a preseason. We'll do a pregame show right next week. Maybe Wednesday or Thursday.
Yeah. We'll let some water go under the bridge. Maybe see if there's some changes coming up, and they'll solidify by that Wednesday or that Thursday. We'll know, exactly what's going on, and yeah, I'm excited for it. It's going to be good. Okay. I'll actually be able to watch it. I live in Florida.
Let's hope, right?
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. Well, look, man, you can see behind me. I'm going to go do a little sport fishing.
Woo!
Here in San Diego, here in Point Loma. Can't wait to get out there, and man, great seafood here. So, yeah. Well, good show, man.
Yeah.
Let's go, and we'll do it next week, and we'll have our very first pregame for the 2022 season.
Yeah, we'll do some predictions. We might flip the coin. We might do some crazy stuff. We'll see what happens. So thank you all so much. I want to give a couple shout outs. One is to my girl. One is to SpaceX for hiring me and giving me money, my landlord, and all the people that allow me to do the things that I do. And if you want to say anything for anybody that supports you or whatever you want.
Heck yeah, man. My wife and my family, 100% behind me. The brothers and the sisters, I love it. Always got me in their prayers, and I didn't get this far without that. So super grateful, and people following us, and
the fans.
It's really great, man. So we have a small group of subs, but they're loyal. So stick around, man. We're gonna have fun this year. Yeah, and
if Scrubber can get some decent internet, we might do some live streams. We'll see.
That's it, man. Just put out about $2,800 to just get that Starlink thing.
I might do it. I'm thinking about it, dude. It's like $600 to get it going and $110 a month.
You know what? What the hell, man? Why not? Why not, man? Just take out a loan.
Yeah, no problem. They pay.
All right.
Thanks, dog.
All right, man. Good, man. I hope you do it, man. Let me know. That would be awesome.
I'm thinking about it.
All right.
All right, guys. Thanks, everybody.
Good show.